My name is Janelle, and I am a recovering failure. Well, at least I thought. I am the owner of Nana Queen's Pottery. And just to give you a little background, I started my business in 2006. Now, I started my business, it was kind of like, almost like a joke in a way. I used to work for the phone company, which I still do work for the phone company. But back then I was a technician, so I worked with all guys. And I would cook and bring things to work just to show that I could cook as a woman. And so all the guys would be impressed. But this particular time, I brought banana pudding to work. And everybody just went crazy over this banana pudding. And some of my coworkers said to me, you know what, this is so good, you could sell it. So I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. You know, growing up, I would rake leaves for $1. I would shine my grandmother's shoes. She was a nurse, so I would shine her shoes, iron her uniforms, you know, for a couple of quarters, but I was always trying to make money. So once they said, you know, you could sell this, I was thinking, you know what, you might be onto something. So eventually I started having bake sales at work and making the banana pudding for my friends and family. And it just grew into, you know, having restaurants that carried my products and eventually leasing a food truck. So, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I'm doing good. I have a food truck. You know, people are knowing and recognizing my logo, my name. And one day, out of the blue, Food Network called and said, would you like to be a competitor on the Great Food Truck Race? So I'm thinking, this is it. I'm set. My business is going to skyrocket. Went on the show, was the first team to go home. And that was like a big blow for me. But from there, I'm thinking, okay, at least, you know, from being on television, a huge show, people will recognize me and my business is going to boom as soon as I get back to LA. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So, you know, once I got back to LA, the bills were still there, life was still there, and it kind of felt like I was becoming a one-woman show where everything was on my shoulders, from cooking, cleaning the truck, to, you know, marketing the business. And it really got to the point where it became a burden for me. And, you know, when you're starting off in business, one of the things that you definitely need is a team. And unfortunately, sometimes when you don't have the budget for a team, you're not making the money you need to make, you can only rely on friends and family to kind of help, where, you know, you would usually have employees. So that's pretty much where I was at. I didn't have my team together. And another thing I didn't have in place was a real plan. It's like I had a good product and I knew I had a good product and I just went with it. I was like, I'll think of a plan later, you know? So those are the things that you definitely need to have when you're thinking about starting your business. How are you going to put your team in place? And write out a plan and try to use that as a roadmap. But it got to the point where it was just too much, and friends and family were like, you know what, this is your dream. We got to go back to our normal lives. So eventually it got to the point where I had to close my business. You know, before I had opened the food truck, I had quit my job, and that's another thing. You want to make sure that you're able to sustain your personal life and having a business when you decide that, hey, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to make this happen. You know, you got to plan for that. And that was another thing that I just knew that, you know, the universe was going to open up to me and I wouldn't have to worry about money. Money was just going to come. So I closed my business and it was devastating. And for years, it took 5 years for me to come out of that depression and the mourning of my business. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like this is my testimony, it's my story, and I feel like it could help other people, because a lot of times you don't hear the stories about what happens if your business doesn't work out. You know, what do you do? How does that impact you? And for me, it was really hard. It was definitely a mourning process. And for years, I wouldn't even make my product anymore. You know, friends and family would say, hey, you know, can you bring banana pudding to the picnic or the, the church function. And I was like, absolutely not. I didn't even want to look at pictures of my business. Like, it was a part of my mind that I totally shut out for years. And for years, I just walked around like I failed, and that's what I thought to myself. If I didn't make it to the level that I felt I should have made it to, then I failed. But it's amazing how, once you kind of take a step back and you realize that, no, you actually didn't fail. You actually just learned lessons. And that was something that it took me 5 years to realize. So fast forward, I was at an event and this young lady came up to me and she recognized me. And I was always trying to hide. I didn't want anybody to see me. And remember, I was on the Great Food Truck Race, so people knew my face. So she came up to me and she said, "You're the banana pudding lady." And I kind of chuckled and I was like, yeah, I am. And she was like, "Oh my gosh." She grabbed my hands and said, "You know what? I'm praying for you." And I thought that was kind of different. Okay. She's like, "You don't remember me, but I had your product before. I was your customer." She was like, "I'm praying for you and I hope you make a comeback." And I kind of thought about it. I went on with my event, with my friends. And I thought about it and I was thinking wow, all this time I felt like people that I didn't know, or people even that I did know, they were on the outside looking in like, "Oh, that's her. She's the one that made it to the Great Food Truck Race. She had a catering truck. She failed. Her business is not here anymore." But there were people really out there still rooting for me, still praying for me. And when she said that to me, it's like a light bulb came on. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm the only one who cares that my business didn't work out the way I felt it should have worked out. Everybody else is still waiting, still rooting for me, still wanting what I have to give, to the world. And so from that point on, I decided I could start over. Nobody cares, just start. And so that's my message to you. If you've ever had a business, even different situations in your life where you feel like you didn't totally succeed, it may not have turned out the way you want to. It's all about your mindset and how you feel about yourself. And if you're sitting back and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, woe is me," other people don't see you the way you see yourself. So it's up to you to just make a decision. I could start over, and nobody cares. All they want is what you have to offer, So it took me 5 years to realize that. But now I'm in a place where I feel like I'm in a better position with my business. I'm starting off a little slower. My product is now in restaurants again. I'm doing festivals. I'm doing events. I do catering, and my old clients and new customers, they receive me with open arms. People are saying they're so proud of me for coming back and starting over and how they missed me. And that's the thing, there's a community of people out there that will support you, and they're just waiting for you to make that decision, just to start over again. And so my dream has come true. And that's what I tell people. The dream is not this multi-million-dollar business, although I do want my business to grow to that level. But I feel like, when you take that first bite of my product, my banana pudding, my dream has come true. You're tasting my thoughts, what I thought about years ago, what I wrote out on paper. You are tasting that. When you make your first business card, that's a dream come true. When you go and get a banner, that's a dream come true. People are seeing your logo, your ideas come to life. Those are the dreams that have come true that we've brought to life. And that's something that you have to remember. It may not be on a huge scale, but every small step, that's the dream. So if I could do anything, with my story, I just want to encourage people to get up, start over, dust yourself off. It's okay to start from scratch. And, just make a choice. All it takes is one choice, a decision that I'm going to do this, no matter what. No matter what my setback was, no matter how many years, I've been out of the game, I'm going to start over and I'm going to make it happen this time. So that's what I'd like to say to you.